What if I told you a secret? To fill your kitchen with 5 different types of artisan bread, you don't need to mix 5 different batches of dough. I spent hundreds of hours analyzing flavor profiles and customer reviews. Today, I will share my perfect commercial formula with you. We will break all stereotypes of home baking. From just one basic batch of sourdough dough, we will create 5 unique restaurant-level breads. We will also look at the microbiology of mixins and see how they change the crumb structure. But before we start, I have an exciting interactive challenge for you. Right now, I'm preparing a huge, fundamental video about making sourdough from scratch. I also created a very detailed guide on wheat and rye cultures. You can get this valuable guide completely for free before the official release. Before the sourdough video comes out, I will post a few other clips. Look closely at my kitchen in this video. I hid many clear clues for you. Write your guesses in the comments. What is the topic of my next video? Remember the main rule. 1 comment, 1 guess. You can write as many comments as you want, but post each idea separately, not in a list. In 2 days, I will contact the winners and send the sourdough guide for free. Let's begin. 5 flavor profiles from one mix is a total game changer. It is an absolute process optimization for any home baker or micro-home bakery. You can bake bread for the whole week and create great variety. We will make 3 savory breads, 2 dessert options and 1 classic control loaf. My deck oven can hold 6 loaves at the same time. So, we will do this experiment in real time to compare the pore structure. I gathered the best options that you can easily replicate at home without professional equipment. Let's look at the process. I mix the dough by hand, directly on the table. First, I make a well in the flour and pour in the water. Now it's time for the sourdough. We must use it at its peak activity. To be absolutely sure, we do a float test. I drop a small piece of sourdough into the water. A good, active starter will float on the top, because it is full of gas and has a fresh, fruity lactic aroma. The science of adding salt is very important. Why shouldn't you add salt in the very beginning? Salt is a strong natural antiseptic. If you add it early, it slows down the wild yeast and fermentation. So, after mixing the flour, water and starter, we move the dough into a container for Autolyse. An Autolyse without salt helps flour proteins absorb water and form a strong gluten network. And this gives us the perfect time window to prepare our mixins. We have spices, dry ingredients and liquid components to get ready. Here is a vital rule for ingredients like nuts or seeds. You must toast them first. Toasting removes the raw taste, eliminates excess moisture, and releases the deep aroma of essential oils. For dried fruits, you must always wash them and dry them with a towel. It is time to add the salt. Look at how beautifully the gluten window developed after the Autolyse. The dough is smooth and strong. Now we introduce the salt, mix it in, and give the dough some time to rest before lamination. During lamination, the gluten is perfectly ready. We divide the total dough mass into apportioned blanks, weighing about 700 grams. We straight each piece into a thin sheet and add our prepared mixins. Now, let's start our big flavor breakdown. Let's look at each flavor profile in detail. Profile number 1, the grain bread. In our bakery, customers called it simply grain bread. It was always a top bestseller. Inside, we have a mix of sunflower, pumpkin and flax seeds. As I said, all seeds that go inside the dough are already toasted, but the seeds for the outside coating must be completely raw. They will toast perfectly during baking. If you use pre-toasted seeds on the outside, they will burn and become bitter. Profile number 2, dried cranberry and hazelnut. This is a very elegant bread. Our safe maximum is the mix of washed and dried cranberries and perfectly toasted hazelnuts. We clean off the bitter skin and chop the nuts into pieces. Remember, whole nuts are too heavy for gluten. We will finish this loaf with a beautiful poppy seeds crush. Profile number 3, pecorino, cheddar and black pepper. This is my absolutely favorite bread for sandwiches and grilled cheese. You won't see big messy spots of melted fat inside. Instead, you get a beautiful deep cheese aroma. We use a mix of sharp pecorino and rich cheddar. They create a very complex flavor. This recipe was inspired by the famous Italian pasta cacio and pepe. I also add a fresh mix of black, white and pink peppers. This creates a warm, beautiful aftertaste with baked notes. Finally, grated cheese integrates into the dough and makes a tighter crumb. Profile number 4, marbled dessert bread, cacao and chocolate. This is a wonderful choice for kids and great option for vegetarians' desserts. This bread is not overly sweet. It keeps its true sourdough character but has a beautiful marbled look. This chocolate profile is perfect if you add a slice of butter and some grated chocolate on top. Be careful, cocoa powder absorbs a lot of water and can dry out your dough. Profile number 5, sun-dried tomatoes and smoked paprika. A wonderful bread with an Italian accent. Smoked paprika gives the dough a deep smoky aroma. Sun-dried tomatoes add a perfect balance of acidity. Remember one rule: your tomatoes must be soft in oil, but you must dry them well with a paper towel before adding them to the dough. Free fats can destroy the gluten structure. If you use dry tomatoes, soak them in warm water until soft, then dry them and cool them. I also add dry basil and oregano for a beautiful herb aroma. Don't use too much smoked paprika. It has a very strong flavor. We want a perfect balance with the tomatoes and herbs. After a short rest, we shape the loaves. Today, I will share some pro tips that people usually keep secret. If you bake bread without any coatings, like our classic cheese or tomato option, you must dust your proofing baskets with flour. This prevents sticking. But for grain and poppy seeds breads, we use a different technique. We will use a wet paper towel. Take your shaped loaf and roll the top surface over the wet towel. The moisture creates a perfect natural glue on the dough. Then dip the loaf into seeds or poppy. The coating will stick perfectly and you don't need to dust these baskets with flour. How do I manage this much bread? Here is my main secret for time management. After the bread cools completely, I slice it into portions. I put parchment paper between the slices and store them in the freezer. When I plan my breakfast, lunch or dinner, I just take one of the slices I need, cheese bread for example for soup, tomato bread for salad, marbled bread for morning coffee. 2 minutes in the toaster or on a dry pan, and I have fresh, hot, healthy artisan bread on my table. This saves a lot of time and resources during the month. Next, we send the loaves for a long cold fermentation at 4 degrees Celsius. Why is this process useful? In the cold, the yeast slows down, but the lactic acid bacteria continue to work. This breaks down phytic acid. In regular bread, phytic acid blocks micronutrients. The bacteria process complex sugars and break down some gluten. This bread gets a low glycemic index and deep flavor, and it's very easy to digest. You can watch the full baking guide for a standard home oven by clicking the link in the description. There, I explain the difference between a home kitchen and professional equipment. Today, I'm using a compact deck oven made for home use. If you use a cast iron Dutch oven, just bake your loaves one by one, keeping the others in the fridge. Write in the comments what are the mixings do you want to analyze. I will gladly explain the science behind them and help you find the perfect proportions. Before baking, it is the time for final touch. I will show you 4 different scoring techniques. An elegant double cut for beautiful parallel ridges, a classic diagonal cut, a deep cut right in the center, and a geometric diamond pattern that rises beautifully during baking. And of course, let's talk about our quest. If you missed the clues, make sure to watch the video. Look carefully. What fermented drinks were in my fridge? What recipe cards were on my table? What photos were on my refrigerator? Write your guesses about my next video topic below this clip. You have 2 days from publication. Remember the rule: 1 comment, 1 specific guess. You can make as many attempts as you want, but post each idea separately. Everyone who guesses right will get my wheat and rice sourdough guide absolutely for free. Now the best moment. Let's look at the results and see how the mixins change the crumb structure. Loaf number 1. Classic control. It has a fully open, beautiful porosity. This is the gold standard. You must master this basic bread before you start adding mixins. Loaf number 2. The seeds made the structure tighter because flax absorbs moisture. This makes the crumb more textural, but this deep flavor and intense aroma of toasted seeds is exactly why our regular customers love it. Loaf number 3. Tomatoes and paprika. The crumb gets a beautiful orange-pink color. This bread is amazing on its own. My favorite way to eat it: add a layer of cream cheese, baked eggplant or, for example, fresh tomato, some good olive oil and sea salt. It is a perfect Mediterranean breakfast or great partner for a fresh salad. Loaf number 4. Cheese bread. First, you taste the intense aroma of pecorino and cheddar. In the end, you get a warm, gentle spiciness from the 3 peppers. This is a flawless base for the best hot grilled cheese sandwich. In the future, I will make a separate video about this hot dish. Loaf number 5. Cranberry and hazelnut. This bread is not just a sweet dessert. It is created for elegant serving, like on a cheese board with good wine. The acidity of the cranberries is a perfect surprise flavor. It balances beautifully with the texture of hazelnuts under a poppy seed crust. Loaf number 6. Marbled dessert. The cocoa powder created beautiful dark graphic patterns. The bread is not too sweet and keeps its sourdough character. Kids absolutely love it. A slice of this bread with high-quality butter, nut paste and banana is a magnificent clean dessert. Thank you so much for spending these minutes with me. If you love my philosophy of honest, scientific and beautiful baking, please support the channel. Leave a like, subscribe, share this video with other foodies or use the hype button. Your activity helps me grow the project and make even better content. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next culinary investigations. Happy baking, friends, and see you soon.